4th and Van Dorn.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here by Joseph Meyer, the senior sports editor
We're back.
the Daily Nebraskan, UNL's only independent student newspaper. We're back. So, we got quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah.
For a Tuesday?
For Tuesday. It's usually one of the slower days.
Yeah, we got men's basketball games going to be tomorrow. So
Big one against Indiana.
Yep, we're going to preview that a little bit. And then college football playoffs.
Yeah, they made officially
expanded.
set up the look for next year. So
that
we're going to dive into that. And there's a big name coach. I don't know if you ever heard his name, Bill.
I'm a Dolphins fan. I've heard of that name.
Belichick. Something like that.
Bielish,
He's coming here.
Bill Bielish.
To talk with the team. So
yeah, Belichick coming.
We'll dive into that at the end here, but I want to get your thoughts on something that's very timely. I know we usually talk Nebraska basketball, but Creighton basketball just knocked off a number one. About time they do it, because Nebraska's had that role here in the state for about a month and a half.
If I can cut you off, there was a text before the show that somebody was just spamming "Let's go Jays." So this thought I'd add that someone was having fun.
Nebraska's the state of basketball. Who needs Indiana when you've got Nebraska? Two number one teams go down within a month and a half of each other.
Crazy. Both
Electric storm of the court.
Storm of the court.
Court storm. That came out really weird. It's so exciting. I couldn't even think of the word.
Storm of the court.
Well, they put out a storm warning. That's what the storm warning, storm.
There we go.
Creighton basketball gets it done tonight. That's a really good team. We got to watch it firsthand when they walked into PBA and did their thing. I would not be surprised if that's one of the teams in the Final Four again this season. They are so experienced and can clearly compete with anyone in college basketball. UConn is a really good team again this year. Number one for a reason.
Yep.
They're not just there because they were the number, they finished last year. They were the last team standing in 2023. Mm-hmm. They're a really good team in 2024 as well, and Creighton just took them to the woodshed. And one of the most insane environments I've seen from that I think Creighton a lot of times has an older crowd, whereas PBA is definitely more of a younger crowd. But tonight was awesome, and they had the stripe out going. Their student section was rocking, and they stormed the court in very quick fashion. So
it was a quicker and more efficient court storming than Nebraska's.
Well, it's hard with Nebraska because you've got that big space in between the court and the student section.
Not faulting anything.
No, which is rare,
out.
But I like having the student section on the sideline more, even though you do have that little buffer rather than behind the basket. You have both here.
A court storming is a court storming.
A court storming is a court storming. Now you got me thinking that sounds weird in my head.
No, that's normal.
But that's a fun one. Great for the state. Two tournament teams likely at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So just overall fun night in college basketball as well.
I have a question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So might be this is not prepared question. So Joseph has no idea what I'm about to ask. What do you think was the more, I don't want to say exciting, what do you think was the more impressive win? Nebraska over Purdue or Creighton over?
Nebraska over Purdue for sure.
Okay.
Come on.
For sure. Okay, can you give a reason
because why? Creighton is a team that I wasn't I actually thought they might win this game just because of how big.
Okay.
Like, I feel like
That
no
makes
one
sense.
really expected Nebraska to win that game.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas Creighton is one of those teams this season where they're legitimate title contenders. I know they're still in that like 10 to 20 range in the net.
Legitimate?
But I think they're legitimate title contenders.
Okay.
I think they're better than they were last year, and they were, inches away from the Final Four.
Yeah. It feels like, is it weird? I feel like they always get paired on the side with Gonzaga. Or am I just like tripping?
I'd have to go back and look, but
It feels like they always get paired on the side with a really good Gonzaga team.
yeah, Gonzaga's still a bubble team, weirdly enough, this season.
Not as much this year, but I'm saying like years past.
Yeah, definitely Nebraska over Purdue. Just more shocking, bigger. Zach Edey's such a big name in college basketball.
Probably the biggest.
Whereas I feel like UConn doesn't have that same star power. Great team. They didn't really have the same star power last season when they won the national championship. Creighton has the star power, though. Like, that is a team very easy to root for, like, just from the player perspective, regardless of if you're a Nebraska or Creighton fan. It's just a fun team to watch. And I would not, I'll go, we watched them play. I would not be surprised if that's one of the last 4 teams standing. I don't think they can win it all, but I would not be surprised if they were in the last 4 teams standing.
I'd be a little surprised. I think a Wheat 8 is probably their ceiling.
Okay. It's this year has been so unpredictable in college basketball.
That
and
is
so
true.
fun.
That is true.
That I think any team in the top 15 has a legitimate chance.
Maybe. Yeah.
We saw last year. UConn wasn't a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah, which I'm not saying that they have to be a 1 or 2 seed. I'm just like, I don't know. Just Creighton hasn't done it.
So excited.
Creighton
so excited for March
It's
Madness.
more of just like, because there's nothing that, like, nowhere with Creighton has, I feel like, in recent history has Creighton even gotten close to that, in my opinion. I know they had Sweet 16. Yeah, that's great. There's a big jump from the Sweet 16 to Final Four. Like, that's a big jump. You may not think it is.
I just think they're a
jump.
veteran team that has the pieces to do it, and they are experienced. They've felt the taste of a painful loss last year, and I think they're hungry, and I think I would not be surprised if they're back there.
They could be.
Nebraska basketball,
The more interesting Nebraska basketball team.
I don't know about more interesting, more well, how would you put it? More surprising, more fascinating.
There we go. Yeah.
Certainly not better, though.
You never know.
No.
If Creighton, a rematch.
They're the only team that can win at PBA.
Hey,
in the country. They're the only team that can win at PBA.
If they would play again, I think Nebraska, it would be a really good game. It'd be a really good game.
I don't know about that.
It'd be a really good game.
It might be a really good game. I do not think.
I'm just saying that was so early in the season. This is a completely different Nebraska team, in my opinion.
I think Creighton's really good.
I'm not saying they're not good. Purdue is really good.
But Purdue, do you trust Purdue to make it past the first 2 rounds this season?
They should.
They should have the last 2 years as well. I think their play does not correlate to the NCAA tournament.
Purdue is one of the best regular season basketball teams in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So if you beat them in the regular season, that's a huge deal. March Madness, who cares?
Who cares? March Madness. Who cares?
They're regular season champions. Anyways, we want to preview Nebraska's game tomorrow on Wednesday against Indiana on the road, which makes it a big game. I don't care who Nebraska's playing. If it's a conference opponent and it's on the road, it's a big deal for Nebraska. Why? Everyone probably knows why Nebraska hasn't gotten a conference road win.
They haven't. Now, Indiana is now that Nebraska is the state of basketball, Indiana can be a close second.
The state.
Right? The Hoosier State can be a close second.
Yep.
They've got some, a little bit of history, I guess, over there. But nothing like Nebraska basketball history.
Nothing, specifically Cornhusker.
Yep, the cornfields. Nothing else to do in Nebraska. Let's dive into this Indiana preview here.
Played before.
They've played before, long time ago.
Yep.
That was right after the turn of the new year.
So how much are you taking that last game they played into factor? Or
not
really?
Not a ton.
That's kind of me too.
They're not the same team.
Yep.
Xavier Johnson, one of their guards, is out for the year. So Gage Cups has kind of filled in that starting role, hasn't done much. Neither of them really. I mean, Johnson had no points when he played Nebraska, so I'm not going to say that's a big deal. but still to lose one of your starting guards. Cupps hasn't done much. He's averaging like 2.5 points per game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Different look team. It's been a brutal month for Indiana. Let me walk you through this schedule.
Walk me.
Back to back. Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois.
Ooh, that's
3
even
straight
worse than
losses.
We thought Nebraska's 3-game stretch was tough.
That's a brutal stretch. They've had to play Purdue twice now. Last 3 of their last 4. Lost to Penn State and Northwestern in the last 4 games at home. So this is a team that is not afraid to lose at home.
Not afraid to lose at home.
We'll see if they want to let Nebraska beat them at home as well, because that would be incredible at this point.
I don't think I've ever heard a team be described as not.
They're not afraid to lose. Nebraska is afraid to lose at home, because if they lose at home, they're not making the tournament because they know they're not winning on the road.
I love that.
It's been a brutal year for them, though. They had Kansas, UConn, Purdue twice, Illinois, and Wisconsin.
Hey, man, apparently for Nebraska, Purdue at home is an easier game than Iowa on the road. So Purdue must not be.
Hey, Iowa beat Michigan State tonight. The Big Ten is just so unpredictable.
Oh, sorry. I'll say Rutgers on the road.
Rutgers on the road. Rutgers has been playing well, though.
Sorry. I'll say
Indiana is
Maryland on the road.
Maryland on the road. Indiana's currently the lowest team in the net that Nebraska's lost to. Like if they were to lose on like all those road games that they've lost.
That's interesting. I didn't know.
Because Iowa's been playing a lot better as of late. Rutgers has been playing a lot better as late.
Yeah.
Maryland has been playing a lot better as of late until they lost to Wisconsin in a close one tonight. A Wisconsin team that has completely fell off the rails, by the way, since Nebraska beat.
So kind of a bad loss.
Nebraska basketball broke Wisconsin. I won't say bad loss for Maryland, but Nebraska basketball broke Wisconsin. I think they've lost 5 of their last 6.
Was it Nebraska?
It was Nebraska. They were on a streak until that second half. They were killing them in the first half.
So when Nebraska beat Purdue, Purdue became like they went on a huge winning streak, still on a winning streak. And then when Nebraska beat Wisconsin, they
fell off the rails.
So
yeah. Lost
really
to Michigan.
Really weird. Nebraska just has that effect, different effects on different teams.
It has the effect of a team that averages 5 3-pointers a game, lowest in the Big Ten. This team Indiana does not shoot. Like I know we've talked about this when they played Rutgers and when they played Maryland. I was like, I'd be very shocked if Rutgers and Maryland shoots well.
If it happens for a 3rd time in a row for us,
Indiana, not only do they not shoot well, they don't shoot at all the ball.
Yeah.
Nebraska's attempted almost 300 more 3-pointers on this season. I think it's 280 more 3-pointers on this season. So Nebraska's at the top of the Big Ten in that stat. Indiana's at the very bottom. Now, the last time they played, they made 9 of 18. They shot 50%, way higher than their 5-a-game average.
See, and I feel like we should kind of expect that again, because I feel like teams strategically know if they're going to beat Nebraska, they're going to have to shoot more threes, because you can't trade threes for twos. Like mathematically, any team, if you're trading threes for twos, you're going to lose. And Nebraska, not afraid to shoot from behind the arc. Other teams know that, and I feel like it kind of pressures them into shooting more threes.
It's fair. I think Indiana, with how forward dominant this team is, they don't rely on their guard play. I think this might be the opportunity for Indiana to win in a way that we haven't really seen this year, where they just get downhill and dominate inside, because their top 3 leading scorers are all forwards. So you go back and look at this game back in early January. Nebraska won by 16 points. Indiana had a solid day from deep.
Yeah.
Khalil Ware had 20 and 10. So he's going to get the center. And that's why if I'm Nebraska, I would genuinely be shocked if they lose in a fashion where they get shot off the floor. I would be floored.
This will be I want to say for the record, this is the third time
I've said
it, and you are 0 for 2.
I'm 0 for 2. Especially against Maryland. Maryland, I'm pretty sure I made a guarantee that they're not going to make more than 6 threes, and then they just went off.
Hey, man.
But yeah, Indiana's just not a 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
Bottom 3 scoring defense and scoring offense in the Big Ten. Worst free throw shooting team in the Big Ten. I believe 4th worst from deep in the Big Ten. Like, this is not a good team.
No. And yet,
it's Indiana
and that's the thing.
on the road.
I said this on yesterday's show, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care. I'll repeat myself. There's not a single stat or metric that I could point to for why I'm feeling this way. I just feel like this is a trap game for Nebraska. It just feels like a trap game. This feels like a game Nebraska loses for whatever reason.
It does have that feeling.
Because it's like...
You know what, Ben, though? I think things have changed. I think that week off, I think they found some inner zen during that week.
They found something.
2 really dominant wins over the last... Granted, against Michigan and Penn State.
Against blue blood teams.
Blue blood football teams.
There we go.
Now, if I told you in September that Nebraska is beating Michigan and Penn State by 20, we'd be like, all right. Yeah, I think Indiana I think this is the toughest game left, and here's why.
I agree.
Ohio State has been surging, I say surging. They beat Purdue and they fired their coach.
Surging.
So there's going to be that feeling of momentum.
Yeah.
But that's the only road game that can Michigan is going to be checked out. It's over. Senior night, that stands are still going to be empty, so there's not going to be that much to play for. So if they lose that one, I'd be just shocked. I think Ohio State end of the year on the road, I think that's a great opportunity for Nebraska. Minnesota Minnesota's at home.
That's all you have to say. It's at home.
So I feel very strongly about that one. Rutgers also at home. Feel very strongly about Rutgers on senior night. That's not a loss. There's no way.
No.
I really should watch when I say no way with Nebraska.
No
sports.
way. No.
So
way.
this is the game. If I'm Nebraska, I'm the most concerned about going into this.
I agree. I feel like I said, I think this is a trap game, and I can't point to a metric, but Nebraska had a huge losing streak against Indiana. Nebraska broke it earlier.
Beat them twice in one season. I should have checked on the stat last time that happened.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, I know Indiana's not a good team, but then again, it's like, is Nebraska really going to be able to beat them twice in the same season, and the second one being on the road? And Nebraska hasn't. I mean, okay, I'm just going to go off track. How do you feel like Nebraska's road struggles are overblown?
I don't think they can be overblown. They can't beat anyone on the road.
I'm going to present an argument. So, Nebraska against Minnesota, dominating the first half. Okay, let's not talk about second half. They were dominating that first half against I'm forgetting
Rutgers, Iowa, Maryland.
Rutgers, really close game, overtime. Illinois, really close game, overtime. Like, I think that stretch of like beating Illinois or not losing Illinois in overtime, coming back against Northwestern, having some fight in you, and then dominating Michigan and dominating Penn State at home with that week off, there's a chance where this team has really found its rhythm now and just wins out. I think winning out is more likely than a complete collapse. Yeah, I have Nebraska winning this game, but I'm not confident in the
Okay.
pick.
I'm going to take them to win this game too.
That's how I'm viewing this, because it's just, I don't know, man. Every time I feel like Nebraska's finally got it going, there's always something. It just feels like there's always something. And it's not because this isn't a good team. This is a really good Nebraska team. It's just, this is what's going to happen when you're a team that relies on a 3-point shot. There's just going to be games that you should win that you just don't. And I feel like the road struggles are a little overblown just because Nebraska played Illinois so well on the road. I don't care Nebraska lost that game. That was
good loss.
That was an NCAA tournament-esque game.
For sure.
Against Illinois. Northwestern, I know the first half was bad, but
they showed fight in the second.
They showed fight in the second half.
Which is what you wanted to see, because we did not see that against Iowa or Maryland.
Yeah. The Rutgers game I know is overtime, but Nebraska also, they played really bad in that game. So I guess I'm more basing this off of the Illinois game and the fact that they showed fight in the second half against a Northwestern, which people don't give Northwestern's home court advantage enough credit.
That's an incredible environment, which is so surprising because their football stadium is just terrible.
Dead. But like Northwestern, it's almost right there. Their home court advantage is almost right there with Nebraska.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that concern because obviously Ty Berry goes out in that one. He was on pace for a huge night. So that second half rally, you lose one of your veteran players if you're Northwestern, one of your leaders, one of your best shooters who has killed Nebraska over the years. Obviously, that's going to be a struggle to keep him out of the game when you're up 20 points.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that, but you still did show fight. Jamarcus Lawrence kind of found his rhythm in that game. Let's talk about how Nebraska matches up with Indiana, because I think it's a really fascinating matchup, particularly from the center position. So Rick Mast has struggled against very athletic centers this season because he's just not quick enough. And on nights that he can pop out and get outside, stretch the floor, pop out, hit some threes,
Ohio State,
it's worked well because even those athletic centers have to come follow him out.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Ware is a very tall center, 7-footer, but he's not your typical slow 7-footer who just, plays under the basket and drops it in. He is bouncy. He can get up. Oddly enough, he's not afraid to shoot the three either. He's had a couple games where he's
is interesting.
hit two. He's not, but by no means a shooter. Doesn't attempt very many. Actually has the second highest 3-point percentage on the team. It's obviously skewed because he doesn't shoot very many, but he's not afraid to shoot it. So it's going to be very important for Mast to stretch the floor in this game. Because if he
got to bring him out,
because Khalil Ware is a rebounding machine.
Nebraska's probably going to get out rebounded in this game.
I would be shocked if they don't. And that's a concern. So Mast has got to bring it not only on the boards, but he's also got to be, if he can't stretch the floor tomorrow night, if he can't get outside and force Ware to follow him, he's going to struggle to play inside because Ware is just a huge presence
then
under the basket.
Then again, is Indiana going to do more of a zone where, because Alec isn't a great 3-point shooter, in my opinion?
Yeah.
Where, instead of having him go out on Mast, more of we'll maybe take a chance leaving Alec open. Even though, Alec statistically actually hasn't been that bad of a 3-point shooter this year. But
he should never shoot threes, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. See, and this is another thing. I was when you were talking, I had the question in my head. I was I hate that. The only thing I don't like about this new basketball NBA college is when the bigs are out shooting threes, just because you have less guys rebounding. I fear that's a big reason why Nebraska is not a great rebounding team, is because their bigs are shooting threes and that you don't have guys under the glass rebounding.
Yeah. And you also got Alec flying in and knocking the ball out of Gary's hands at certain points. So
you're not throwing any shade at anybody.
It's going to be, Alec has played much better over the last couple games.
He's going
to be another important one for him.
Yeah.
I just think for Mast, if he gets bullied inside like we saw against Rutgers, and he has another 6-point game where he's not shooting anything, it's going to be a struggle inside. Now, the benefit with Indiana is Ware had 20 and 10 last time, and Nebraska won by 16 points. So they don't have the guard production scoring-wise or 3-point shooting-wise to keep up with Nebraska if Nebraska can shoot well.
Yeah.
The concern would be is if you have another one of these stinker nights from behind the arc and Mast can't get it going inside. That is, in my eyes, the only way that Indiana wins this game.
He probably won't get going. This is just how it's been this season. If Mast can't,
it's been on the road too.
And if
Julian Reese had it his way.
Yeah.
Struggled at Rutgers. If you look back at some of these games where a bigger athletic post.
I don't want to say Mast is going to be afraid to go inside, but he's just not going to. Just because the matchup's not going to be there. I feel when the matchup's not there, Mast is he doesn't feel inclined to pound it down low. He's not going to pound it down low. If he wasn't pounding it down low against, Northwestern, Maryland, all these other teams, he's not going to do it against Indiana against a 7-foot center. It's just not.
You can make that argument. He played well against Edey though, so that's again still been the outlier of he can go up against him. But again, Edey's not that athletic center who's going to get up and
Edey. I don't feel like Edey's that. He's not that good on his feet. So it's Mast, his post moves were working because Edey couldn't move his feet. I don't feel like Edey's that great of a defender. He's good.
He's one of the best players in the country.
No, I'm not saying he's not one of the best. I get that.
I think it's more of the road thing. I think it's more of the road
maybe.
thing. Mast does not play great on the road.
I just
possibly that is getting back to full health in that knee. And he talked about last Friday on
that is true
how healthy he's feeling and how nice the week off was. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's finally finding his stride there. A couple other players
we'll
to point out. Malik Renew, 6'9", 15.7 points, 6 rebounds a game. So that's another guy. Again, from the forward position, they are very large, and that's where most of their production comes from. And then Mackenzie Mbako, 6'8" forward. He's the shooter. He can shoot the three. Attempted 105 3-pointers this season. Only one other player on the team has over 40. So he's your guy to watch for. I've actually nailed the guy that's going to go off from three. The last, I believe, 3 times I've been on the show. Nailed it again last week against Penn State. Zach Hicks had the most point. He led the team,
did have a good game.
I called out to watch for him. So I'm going Mbako as the guy to watch for in this game. So don't be surprised.
It seems like you're cheating there.
Please.
That's like saying, watch for KC. Tell me I gotta go off from 3. Nah, we'll give it to you.
Indiana doesn't have another guy that's gonna shoot.
We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Before we gotta throw it to break, because we're gonna have to throw it to break like very soon. You think Nebraska's gonna win? I think you said that, correct? I have Nebraska.
I think they're gonna win.
Okay, I got.
If Nebraska, you can tell by my voice inflection, I'm not too confident about that one.
I'm not confident either. This is honestly one of the hardest games for me to predict because it's just
Mass is my X factor. If Mass has a great game, they win this game easily. If he gets stifled and the shooting isn't there on the road, it's going to be a great environment, even though the team's not good. Indiana's always a great environment.
See, I agree that if Mass has a good game, they'll win, but I don't think he's going to have a good game. So,
okay. So then it comes down to the 3-point shooting on the road.
My X factor is Bryce Williams because I feel like Bryce Williams, I think he has a chance to have a pretty good game.
I think that bigger lineup will be important because Indiana is a very big starting lineup.
I like the bigger lineup. I feel like last time Nebraska had the smaller lineup. It worked well at home. I'm interested to see how this bigger lineup is going to work on the road. I think it'll be good. I think Bryce Williams has a chance. He's probably the most talented ball handler going to be on the floor this next game. I don't know if I want to say he's the most talented guard,
which is not like that's not great for Nebraska if that's your best option bringing the ball up the floor. But
I mean,
it's been worse.
What's up with the Bryce Williams slander? Come on, I feel like he's been really good.
I just don't think he's just not a true point guard.
No,
and we just haven't seen that from Nebraska this year. But I actually think the new starting lineup with Lawrence coming off the bench just does wonders for the team, and especially in a game like this where you don't really have to worry about defending the perimeter.
True. All right, we're gonna throw it to break. When we come back, we're gonna get some college football talk coming in. Playoffs officially expanded.
Officially, they locked in the format, which wouldn't be surprised if it changes again, Ben.
Probably will, like next year, but we're going to touch on that next segment right here on the Day One Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Empower a life today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Change is only a conversation away when you choose to share your wisdom, time, and heart with a young mind. Together, we can craft a brighter future, one child at a time. Ignite a spark of hope and be someone's guiding light. Find out more about becoming a mentor by visiting teammates.org. Become a beacon of change by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska, or online in your own home. Learn to ride a motorcycle, how to start a small business, how to dance, or take a course to advance in your current career path. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people, First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Coppell truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at CoppellCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Joseph still here with you.
Yes, sir.
Until midnight, until tomorrow. Kind of weird to say that, but
every night we're here.
I'm getting used to it. So
body clock's adjusted at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a college student. So
yeah.
When I heard 11 to 12, I was like, great.
Yeah,
I'm already up, so it's going to be okay.
Right.
All right. So college football. It officially
It's
is
never not college football season.
No.
College football season is just endless. There's always storylines.
Year round. And I feel like they're doing a really good job with marketing and stuff like that.
Oh, dude. I mean,
honestly, probably better than the NFL.
Well, the NFL has built in, and this is great for coaches and players. It has more of a scheduled offseason built in.
Yeah.
College football doesn't have an offseason at all at this point. Like,
yeah.
Matt Rule is working 24/7, 365, and I think he loves it. But right now, it's in the most dead period that we're going to get. It's after signing day. It's before spring practice. We're in mat drills, winter conditioning right now. But today, some big news. College football playoff is we finally have the set. What's the word I'm looking for? The set look of what it's going to look like.
Yes.
So originally it was going to be 6 and 6. So 6 automatic buys or 6 automatic bids from the top 6 conferences. So ideally, that would be 5 Power 5 conferences and then 1 Group of 5 conference. The Pac-12 having a bit of an offseason, to say the least.
A bit.
With almost all of its members fleeing to opposite coasts. That kind of changed it up. Because now the Pac-12 is 2 teams. And if you give an automatic bid to one of those teams, it would be nice if you're an Oregon State or Washington State fan. Probably not the most fair for everyone else, wouldn't you say?
Probably not.
So they changed it today to a 5 automatic qualifying bids.
Hey, man, if they would have kept it, Nebraska should have moved to the Pac-12. Woo!
There you go.
Nebraska, that have been Nebraska's best chance to get into the college football playoffs.
Well, they're going to be traveling to the West Coast anyway, so. So now it's a 5 and 7 model. So there's 5 automatic qualifying bids and 7 at-large bids. And this actually was, the Pac-12 wanted to do this because they weren't going to get an automatic bid in the 6 and 6. And they're like, well, if there's 7 spots for an at-large bid, we have a better chance with 7, so we may as well do that. So the Pac-12 doesn't get an automatic bid, but the next group of 5, which is now, it's Power 5 or Power 4, I guess, and still a group of 5.
Yeah.
Which we got to get rid of these terms anyway. The committee clearly showed us this season that they don't care about Power 5, group of 5.
No.
Like they're like Big 10 and SEC are up here. Then you've got ACC and Big 12.
At least in football.
In football, right. I mean, this football runs the money. Football is the money maker. Everything's about football. So kind of just over
Until
the board.
You get the March.
Right, but even then, like the money that you bring in from TV deals just blows everything out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Other than those 3 weeks in March.
Oh,
so yeah, so now you've got a situation where it's like, yeah, ACC, Big 12. Are those even Power 4? Like, is it just Power 2, Mid 2, and everybody else?
Mid 2.
So Oregon State and Washington State obviously get screwed over in the entire, world of choosing bids here. And they've got to sit in this spot where they're like, all right, we got to get the at-large bid.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to go through here is what it would have looked like last year had we had this conference realignment all completed, the new teams in their new conferences with the new format.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to look at the Power 4. It's going to get really hard not to say Power 5 anymore. I'm already struggling to do it. Power 4 conferences. So you got Big 10. Michigan obviously won that. SEC. Texas was the highest ranked SEC team. SEC in air quotes, because they will be in the SEC. Florida State with the ACC. So they get in. And then the Big 12 is weird. Arizona was the highest Big 12 team.
So weird.
So Oklahoma and Texas moving out brings in Arizona into that highest ranked spot. So those would be the 1 through 4 seeds, and they would get the bye, and they would wait until the bowl game round. But then finishing it out, you've got Washington at 5 because they're Big 10. So you've got, it's hard to even think about. You've got Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and Liberty. Liberty would have got in because they were that 5th automatic qualifier. So a little bit of a brain exercise here, Ben, is what I'm going for.
Thinking.
It's going to be hard to know where you're standing at if you're not locked in on who's in what conference going into this season.
So before I give my thoughts, which, that sounds exciting. When you listed all those teams, before you got to Liberty, I was like, ooh.
I don't think Liberty would be back because they wouldn't rank Liberty that high if they knew they were going to play in the college football playoff. I don't think.
Probably. So let's go. So I just want to get your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that that college football is kind of starting to feel more and more like NFL, with it really being SEC and Big 10?
So here's what I love about college football that the NFL doesn't supply. It's that game day atmosphere where everything means, like, the game, every play means the difference between a great season and an okay season and a bad season. We saw that this year. Like, in the NFL, you have a couple bad games, you can still make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, like we saw with the Chiefs. Multiple teams this season, Ohio State, have a great year, have a couple faulty plays against Michigan, and your whole season is a disappointment. You were undefeated all year, and you, as someone who has covered Michigan my entire life, that was probably the best, or at least of the last 3 years, that was the best fight Ohio State put up. You got so close, and it was a disappointment. That's why college football is great, because every game means so much. This college football playoff, while it does take away from a little bit of that, like Ohio State going into that game would have been like, we know we're in the playoffs regardless of if we win this game or not. What it does do is make that 5 through 25, those last 5 weeks of the season actually mean something. It's like, oh, we already lost a game in early October. Our season's over. And now you've got a situation where Penn State has everything on the line in their last game on senior day with a chance to get that large bid, and they would have got it. Whereas they knew their season was over the minute they lost to Michigan. The minute they lost to Ohio State, it's like, well, finished third in our division again. So for the rest of the field, it's going to be awesome. Because for a school like Nebraska, you don't have to go undefeated to make every game matter for a championship at this point down the stretch. Think about all these teams that are going to be playing in weeks 8 through 12 where everything is on the line.
Yeah.
Normally it's like 5 or 6. This season we had a couple more because Alabama wasn't, the same that they always are, and Georgia lost in the SEC championship game, and Florida State was undefeated. But most years it's like 4 or 5 teams that are really playing for it all. Next year it's going to be up to 20 that can get that last at-large bid. And even if you're Iowa last year, you win the Big Ten championship, you go to the playoff. So it's one game and you're in. I think it just means more for the state of college football. Don't love the corporate aspect of all of this, which is something I don't love about the NFL. It just doesn't have the same environment. But in terms of matchups, I mean, who wouldn't want to see Oregon, Ohio State at Ohio State in December?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I like people that are like, "Oh man, every game's not going to matter." Yeah, it does. It does.
Because college football still has that pride factor.
Yeah.
We see it here in Nebraska.
It does.
That Iowa game meant a lot.
It meant
the season.
It meant,
I mean,
yeah, last year, 2 years ago, it literally meant nothing for Nebraska. Nothing.
And even this past year, it's like, all right, a bowl game, but like, what bowl game? The Quick Lane Bowl? Still meant everything. That game was heartbreaking. In the NFL, you don't get that.
No.
You don't get a 4-12 team rolling into week 17 like, well, we could finish 5th in the draft order or 6th. They're checked out.
The only example I can even think of that is when the Dolphins had the Miami Miracle to beat the Patriots, where the Patriots didn't get the number 1 seed.
That one, those are the rare ones. They do exist.
Rare ones because it's like
when it's like you want to knock off your rival.
Yeah, that's different. But it's like, but for every game's gonna matter. Every game's gonna matter. It's gonna be so much fun. It's also gonna take away from the stupid discussions after the college football playoff committee picks the top 4 teams, and everybody complains about it. Why wasn't Florida State in?
And then we get one of the most fun college football playoffs we've ever had. That Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl were awesome.
And if Florida State would have been in there,
it would have been a blowout. I'm sorry. We know that. But now they get the chance to say, we were undefeated. We got in.
Yeah.
Okay. Liberty was undefeated. They get in here. Let's see what you do in the actual tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
because I can guarantee you in this circumstance, Florida would have been the 3 seed. Alabama would have played Penn State. The winner of that would have played Florida State, probably in the Orange Bowl. I think even Penn State might have beat them. That might be a bit far. I think Penn State might even beat them.
I don't know. They looked really bad against Georgia.
Now, granted, they'd have a lot more players playing, so maybe that's a stretch, but Alabama would have surely beat them. But they get the chance to say it. I've heard a lot of dialogue about this is just going to make that 4 versus 5 debate go to 12 versus 13. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you're the 13 seed, you're not undefeated. And once you lose a game in college football, you have no argument. You can, well, we won all our games. No, you didn't. Why didn't you win all your games? You had 13 of them. Why didn't you win them all? So there's not going to be that same argument anymore.
It's going to be so great because, yeah, like you said, a team would lose a game and it's like, oh, it's over. And it's
looking at it from a Nebraska perspective. Last season didn't matter how good Nebraska was. We knew they were not even coming close. They could have won 10 games and not even sniffed the college football.
But imagine
playoff.
if it would. So if they would have
this season they win 10 games, they're in.
Nebraska, just walk with me here. Nebraska could have somehow won the Big Ten West. Okay, you then have one game
Yeah.
One game against Michigan or Ohio State would have been Michigan to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. The sad part is no more Big Ten West. So
that's
but
the
like
thing.
there's a serious opportunity if you're one of these teams that has never been able to compete at the height of the Big Ten outside of a couple seasons, the Penn States of the world, the Iowas of the world, you're Nebraska in the past, not anymore, but Nebraska's building back. These kind of mid-tier teams just can't compete with Michigan, Ohio State.
No.
But this season, it doesn't matter. You can get into the playoffs with 2 losses.
And it's going to be awesome.
10-2 in the Big Ten. I mean, you might even get 3-loss teams from the Big Ten. You look at how many teams, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Penn State, 5 teams in the future Big Ten would have made the 12-team playoff this season.
There's no way that all of those had only one
They
loss.
would not have had only 1 loss or 2 loss. They might even get a 3-loss team sneaking in there. Same with the SEC. So you have a situation where you have 3 losses going into that Iowa game. Let's say you're Nebraska, 3 losses going into the Iowa game. I know we got to get to break soon, but 3 losses going into the Iowa game, win, and you're into the college football playoff, potentially, depending on what happens at the Big Ten championship, or you finish with 4 losses and go to the Pampers Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be so much more fun. It's at like this 4-team college football playoff. It just wasn't that much fun. Even we had great games. It
got better over the last 2 years.
It did. They were good games, but it's still just like in my head, I was like, okay, Michigan's going to win.
And I think NIL and the new era of signing period and early signing day and coaches being able to actually recruit, even if you're not at Alabama or Georgia or Michigan or Ohio State, has broadened the field of competitiveness. And it's only going to continue to go that way. And so I don't think it's crazy to say within 10 years that there's 12 legitimate contenders for the national title every year.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome.
And it's because it's like, I feel like college football more than NFL. I really feel like in college football, especially those top like 12, it's almost like anyone can beat anybody. Like Nebraska's not going to be able to beat Michigan. Nebraska's not. That's not realistic. But I'm saying like an Oregon could definitely play great and beat a Michigan. I'm not saying they
any
would've.
given day. And that was not the case 10, 15 years ago. Like when we were growing up, it's like, okay, we know it's going to be Clemson, Alabama at the end. It just comes down to that one game.
It's going to be so much
We
fun.
have no idea who's going to win the national title next year.
No clue.
0 idea.
Yeah.
I can tell you who's probably going to be in the 12-team field.
Yeah. You can't say all 12 teams, though.
Can't say all 12 teams. And if you don't make it, then your coach is on the, like, it's not like, well, we couldn't beat Michigan, so we're out. Now it's like,
it's gonna be
you
so
lost
much
4
more
games. You could have been in that thing.
It's going to be so much more competitive. We have to throw it to break. I have to throw it to break. When we come back, we're going to get, there's a big name NFL head coach going to be talking.
Coming to Lincoln.
Bill Belichick. That we're going to quickly talk about that very quickly. And then we're going to end the show. But with that, we got to throw it to break. You're listening to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
We're at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through February 20th are fresh cut ribeye for just $17.99 per pound and buy 2, get 1 free on Montoya potato gnocchi. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
K9 Design in Lincoln reminds drivers to drive with the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and common sense. When a car hits a car, it's an accident. When a car hits a child, it's a tragedy. Safe driving is every driver's responsibility. Canine Design offers quality dog grooming and retail store for your fur baby. Set up an appointment at 402-465-8760. They're located at 1401 North 56th Street. The staff at Canine Design cares about the safety of your 2-leg and 4-leg kids.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry.
This deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Joseph here with you for a couple more minutes before we gotta wrap it up. But we are going to finish it with, in my opinion, for Nebraska, the biggest news of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Belichick.
Crazy. I was like, what?
I think it was the most surprised I've been about a tweet since, well, Jordy Ball's season-ending injury.
That one
comes up. But I'm like, outside of that one, I don't even know. Like, Dylan Raiola, that wasn't really that surprising to me. That was just
we kind of had that coming down the wire. Yeah.
That was kind of just like exciting. I don't know. I was just like, wait, what?
Former NFL coaches love to come to Lincoln.
But like, see, this is why
Matt Rule's got that NFL background, man.
This is things that Matt Rule is doing that Scott
This
Frost
was my
never
100%.
did. And this is why I actually feel confident in what Matt Rule is doing. I never had, like, okay, when Frost was first hired, everyone had hope.
It was hopeful. It wasn't confidence necessarily.
Like, after the first 2 years, I could just tell it wasn't good. It just, Nebraska, like, we can maybe get back to bowl game, but like, Frost is never going to be able to lead us to, actually be a top contending team in the Big Ten. With Matt Rule, I see the vision. I see what he's doing. He's laid it out. He's literally said what he's trying to do, and you can see every step of the way that he's doing that. And that is why it's so awesome, because it's not just a coach going up there saying, we're building a culture.
He's telling you how he's building it.
He's telling you how he's
doing it.
And
if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
And the results are showing. It's not just him saying, this is what's happening, this is how we're doing it. You can actually see it happening.
And he's not wishy-washy on, like, this is how we're going to do it until it doesn't go right. Like, he's like, I remember last season, and I know this is just like, Bill Belichick is not that impactful of news, but it's just so like, it's just one of those things all off season where it's been like these little things. It's like he's just building the right culture, and this athletic department has continued to build that right culture of these little things, but in the grander scheme, all these little things are adding up.
They are.
Like the spring game being at 11 a.m. and going and taking recruits to softball and baseball games after. Being able to say, Bill Belichick came and spoke at our X and O's clinic.
Yeah.
In the middle of April.
You don't think, like, there's no way you can't think that that is something that can be used to get, I get it's not like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like an X and O thing. But
Bill Belichick doesn't go to any university.
This is the fact that Nebraska has been successful in years, decades, okay? And yet, Nebraska still has that pull. Matt Rule, with a program that has been suffering.
That's been terrible.
Still has that pull
100%.
to bring in someone like Belichick. It's just so great that even if Nebraska, like Dave Portnoy for Barstool Sports says, get back to mediocre. If Nebraska could just be mediocre again, like Nebraska would be a football school again. It won't even matter if Nebraska's a national championship contender.
Yeah.
All they have to do is just be making bowl games, going at least 500, and this is a football school.
Yeah, I was looking at, because I was trying to think about some other things that I was just like, those are little culture moments where you see Matt Rule's vision file out. The other day, during the track meet, when Nebraska football players all finished top 3, it's like on one hand, it's like, oh, they're just really good athletes. Then you remember back to Matt Rule's first press conference. I was there.
Very first one.
He said, we're going to prioritize speed. We're going to prioritize guys that can be on the track, be multi-sport athletes, compete in everything they do, and that will make us a better football program. It's these little things that he has planted seeds of over the time, and when you dive into what he says consistently, it's the same message. They lose to Colorado. The sky is falling in Lincoln. We're sticking to our roots.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to stick it out for the next 2 to 3 years. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least he stuck to it. And I think it will work.
And not every coach can do that. Like,
no.
He's done such a great job. He made the terrible mistake of bringing Sims in, playing Sims for too long. And even with that, it just doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, he made literally probably like his worst decision was the quarterback he brought in this year, but it doesn't really matter. I still have just as much confidence in Matt Rule as I did before, because now we have a guy named Dylan Raiola on the team.
Yeah, and two, along with that, he just knows better than the fans and even the media sometimes. Like, there was questions. Myself was like, bring in a 1-year guy to help out Raiola to make this transition fit better.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're going Raiola. Like, we're building we're going with Raiola and Kalen, building from the ground up. And then as it's passed, I'm like, that's probably a pretty good idea.
Oh, yeah. No matter how much all the sports media want to say that they know everything, Matt Rule 1,000% knows way more. He's doing it the right way. That is the thing. That's the one thing I want to point out. He's doing it the right way.
We need a picture of Dylan Raiola and Bill Belichick shaking hands. It's got to happen.
Yes.
Would be incredible. Would break the internet.
I don't know about break the internet.
Oh, it'd break Nebraska Twitter. That's for sure.
It'd probably break Nebraska Twitter. With that, we got to wrap the show up. Thank you for listening to the Day One Nebraska Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Joseph checking out. Tomorrow, we're going to be recapping the Nebraska men's basketball game. So make sure to tune in tomorrow for instant analysis right after the game.
Yes, sir.
With that, peace.
Peace.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry, this deal ends soon.